Hello, and welcome to the second episode of the Great Northern Game Night. I am your host, Tony.
And I am your co-host, Matt.
And the first thing that we're going to start with today is we realized on the last episode that we didn't actually explain anything. We didn't explain why the podcast is called what it is. We didn't really, introduce ourselves very well.
Yeah, we kind of left that stuff out.
Yeah, so my name is Tony. I live in Alaska, actually, Fairbanks, Alaska. And Matt here, you can probably tell where he lives.
I also live in Alaska. No, I live in Canada. Ontario, to be specific. And that's kind of, that's our shtick, I guess, like we're both northern boys living in the northern hemisphere, hence, all that business going on up there.
The northern part of the northern hemisphere, in fact.
Exactly. Tony can claim to be more northern than I am. So that's kind of our thing, We're just a couple of guys like to talk about video games.
Yep. So I thought we'd start off with that since we didn't really explain that at all in the last one. The main topic of today's podcast is going to be, this is a pre-E3 show, basically. E3 starts, technically the Oculus Rift conference already happened, but E3 itself technically starts in 2 days. So, 2 days from the date of recording this. I just dated the YouTube upload. That was a mistake.
Yes. Wait, it might be, I think it officially starts on the 16th, doesn't it?
No. Well, the conferences start on the 14th, I think.
Yeah.
The Oculus one happened now, but there's not another conference until Sunday. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We don't, I know pretty much as everybody else knows about E3. Matt might know a little bit less.
Yeah, I haven't been following it terribly closely, I admit.
I was going to do a ton of research, but I decided it would actually probably just be more fun and funnier if we just dove right in. So the Oculus Rift conference already happened. Big news on that front. They're partnered with Microsoft now, so each Oculus Rift is going to come with a wireless Xbox One controller, which is good if you don't already have a controller for your computer.
Yeah. See, I was watching a recording of that press conference, and on one hand, they can market it so well because they're saying stuff like, and we're going to include the Xbone controller with every single Oculus Rift. And that sounds really cool, unless you already own a gamepad that works with a PC, and there's a million of them out there. I actually use my PS4, the DualShock 4 controller with my PC, and you can configure it to work with any game you want. So, on one hand, it's cool. Yeah, if you don't have a controller, great, you'll get one. But for guys like me, I would love for them to release a SKU that just doesn't include the controller and maybe costs a little less. That'd be nice for me. Because I do want the Rift for sure. I'm looking forward to that thing.
That'll be down the line, I'm certain. You're not going to get a controllerless Rift in the first year, probably. Which is unfortunate, but I don't mind it too much because I really like the Xbox One controller. I don't know if you've actually used one.
I haven't had a chance to hold one yet.
My friend has an Xbox One. It feels better. I don't like the hand feel as much as a PS4 controller. I just like the way the PS4 controller feels in your hands. But all of the buttons on the Xbox One controller feel way snappier and more responsive than a PS4 controller, honestly.
How would you compare it to the 360 controller? Because I love the 360 controller. Really, really.
Imagine a 360 controller. It's the same design. It feels exactly the same holding it.
Yeah.
But imagine all the buttons are snappier. Like when you press down on a face, it's almost like a mechanical keyboard. When you press the face buttons on the Xbox One controller, they click. They're really responsive.
Okay.
The shoulder buttons have this really nice click. The triggers are really responsive. I actually really like the controller. And I'm also excited about having a wireless controller because they stopped producing the Xbox 360 wireless adapter 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
So I don't really know why, but
that's another thing that kind of just sits a little weird with me, and this is me being really, really nitpicky. But throughout the entire development of the Oculus Rift, and you can go back and follow this years back to when the Kickstarter began, one of the number one problems with this was getting the latency down, because you don't want to look physically and then have a massive delay there from what you see in the actual game, or whatever it is you're watching. So they're going on and on about getting the latency as low as possible, and then they market a wireless controller. And I know it's not that bad these days, right? It's almost non-existent now. But still, you'd think if they're going to bundle a controller, it would at least be something wired. Now, that being said, I mean, if it's VR, you want freedom of motion, so I get it. I just thought it was kind of weird they would push that so hard, especially because they're doing their own motion controller. Did you see that in the conference?
Yes, the Oculus Touch, which actually looks really cool.
It looks different. I'd like to try one out. I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but it's interesting.
It kind of reminds me, just in looks, of the Novent Falcon, which is that old controller with like the force feedback that people just like turned into a sex toy, and that's like its purpose now.
Oh,
Japanese sex toys. Someone in the chat actually asked how the D-pad is for the Xbox One controller. Better. Still not as good as the PS4 controller though. That's still superior, but it's definitely a step up from the Xbox 360.
I feel like devs have just fucking given up on the D-pad, man.
Well,
there are no good D-pads.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A D-pad,
they're good enough, but
D-pad feels like a thing of the past at this point. Like, everybody's not worried about it because everything's analog controlled anyway.
Yeah.
They're looking forward, not backwards. So,
I guess that's one thing anyway.
Another thing that's really cool that they mentioned for the Oculus Rift is there's going to be a little knob that you can turn that adjusts where the glasses are. Because the Oculus Rift, if you don't know what it is, basically, it's two little tiny monitors inside of a headset. Yeah. And you look at those monitors and it creates the 3D effect.
And there's lenses in it.
Yeah.
There's lenses inside, too.
Yep. And it's kind of like if you you can put two pictures side by side, and if you cross your eyes right, they almost look 3D. That's the kind of like thing that it's going for. So it's basically just two really small monitors inside this headset, but they have a knob that you can adjust the little like peepholes, I guess, on the lenses depending on how far apart your eyes are. It also has headphones integrated into it, but they can be removed, which is really cool. You can take them out completely if you want to use your own headphones.
Yeah, that I like, because I can't help but feel that whenever you buy a product that comes with headphones, like in that kind of way, they're usually not that good. And I see because I work in retail, right? I do cell phones.
Yeah.
And all the time, the phones that they bundle with mobile devices, at least, I don't know, they're usually not really spectacular.
Yeah,
but
even
they're with the Oculus. I mean, it's all about immersion, right? They're really trying to put people into the world. So maybe it'll be good. Who knows?
I have my doubts because they're going to be trying to keep costs down, and the fact that they can be removed means that they aren't necessarily like obligated to give you like amazing headphones with it. So to keep costs down, they're probably just going to be like really bare bones, basic headphones.
Yeah, they'll give you something passable so you can at least use the damn thing.
I mean, who doesn't already have their own headphones that's going to be buying an Oculus Rift? It's like there's people in the world that don't have headphones, but they're not the people that are going to be buying an Oculus Rift. I think that's about it for the Oculus Rift. Release Q1 2016. So that's between January 1st and April 1st of next year. So that's fairly close. I imagine August, September pre-orders will open up. Maybe earlier. That sounds about right. They haven't announced a price yet. I assume they're still hammering that out. But
originally I was going to estimate around the $300 price point. I don't know if I feel like it might go a little higher now that they're throwing in that Xbox controller.
I don't know. I can't imagine it costing that much more than the development kits. And the newest development kit is $250, isn't it?
I don't know.
I think I was looking at their website. I want to say around $250. I'm probably wrong, but I don't imagine it going much higher than the development kit price.
Yeah. That's kind of all I got out of the conference.
I'm tentatively excited for the controller, but they didn't show us anything about it except basically like pictures of someone holding it. Like there's no specs on it, no details on how it's used.
The one thing I thought that was ridiculous when they had that little demo of the woman like in her living room with the controller and the headset, and she's watching a living room with a TV in it. Come on.
That's ridiculous. That's the only way to watch TV in 2016.
It's just real life with worse graphics. That's all it is.
I
don't know. Maybe it'll be amazing. Like, wow, it's like I'm really there while I'm in my living room.
It's like I'm really in a living room watching TV. I am a little worried because it's going to be bundled with an Xbox One controller, I'm worried that a lot of devs are going to like, it's literally just going to be a headset you wear, and like even your movement is done with the sticks on the controller instead of moving your head. Like, it has built-in head tracking, but I'm worried that that's going to like make the devs go like, we don't really need to use that. It's got a controller that comes with it. And
I
then
bet there will be a lot of ports or like kind of conversions of existing games that they don't really want to integrate the head tracking that badly, so they just do it your way.
Do you know if the because I know that the TF2 support or the TF2, I know TF2 supports the Rift right now. It might only be like the beta of TF2 that you can get. Does that have head tracking in it, or is it just like you wear the Rift and play the game normally?
I've watched a couple of videos of that. I think it does have head tracking.
That would be really cool. It would be a little weird to get used to because obviously you can't turn 360 degrees. So there would have to be like some kind of assistance to the head tracking. It can't just all be controlled by head tracking, or there's no way you'd be able to do anything.
Well, it might be similar to the gyroscopic aiming in Splatoon, because that took I've been playing a ton of that. That took a long time to get used to, but for me at least, if you practice at it, because I play through the single player just doing the gyro aiming, and that got me used to it, good enough for multiplayer. But that, you can learn how to do it. You just have to learn how to do it, which is the hard part, right?
Yeah, I am a little worried because like if it's going to be like that gyroscopic aiming, then basically you're just going to like control the up and down, and then you have to move yourself side to side. And at that point, why do I have a Rift if I'm just looking up and down, but I still have to move myself side to side? We'll see. Maybe I'll look up like some videos or something for how the TF2 integration works, because I know it is working right now in some capacity.
No, that's been around for a long time, since the first dev kit, at least. Yeah.
That is all I have for the Oculus, though. The next conference, the first conference technically, I guess, since Oculus was like a pre-E3, is the Bethesda conference.
So, Bethesda, Fallout, right?
Yeah. I'm sure they'll have some other stuff there, but it's mostly going to be Fallout, which they've already announced. Tentatively excited for Fallout 4. They released the trailer. I wasn't particularly impressed.
Yeah. I felt the same way when I watched the trailer, and I know like Ben and so on and some of our other friends were kind of feeling the same way.
Yeah.
I've taken some time to think about it. That trailer, obviously the animations I had a big problem with. They look really, really stiff and robotic, and that's just, it's 2015. Come on, right? But at the same time, the actual the camera work, and it kind of called back to older Fallout trailers and intro videos. I thought they at least captured that pretty well. But beyond that, it was pretty generic. It basically tells us nothing about the actual game. It's just sort of a, hey, just so you know, Fallout 4 is on the way. And I guess that's good,
It's a little concerning that it basically looks like it could have been recorded in Fallout New Vegas with like a color correction mod.
Yeah.
The graphics look a little better. You can tell that they're better than they were in Fallout New Vegas, like the textures and stuff. But the animations look exactly the same. It looks like there was nothing done on that, like no progress made. The graphics
you just think with like a massive, such a massive studio and a publisher like that they would be able to turn out something better. Maybe not.
This is a PS4, Xbox One, PC game. It's not. They're not like, as far as I know, they're not like double duty making it for the PS3 and the Xbox 360 either.
Haven't heard of it yet.
Yeah, so like, there's no reason. It doesn't look terrible, but
maybe that's the E3 surprise. By the way, it's also on previous gen consoles.
The problem is it would be developed for the previous gen consoles and then ported to the new ones, and then it's not a next gen game.
Yeah, that always turns out great.
Oh yeah. So I don't know anything else that Bethesda might be throwing out there. Probably some Elder Scrolls Online stuff, because that went free to play recently.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Such a shame.
I highly doubt there's going to be anything Elder Scrolls aside from Elder Scrolls Online. If they're working on Fallout 4, they're not going to be working on an Elder Scrolls game.
Well, they're going to have to make a decision if how many resources they want to devote to Elder Scrolls Online, because an MMO is like a long haul endeavor. If they want it to be successful, they can't just develop it once and then quit.
The fact that they've gone free to play means to me that they've already pulled significant amounts of members off that team. So, clearly they've decided it's not worth their time to develop a paid MMO, which means that the quality's probably going to dip. And as far as I know, the quality wasn't that great to begin with.
Yeah, it didn't have a great reception on release or ever, actually.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they're not too enthusiastic.
I played the beta, and I mean, it wasn't like super unfun for me, but I like WoW, and it was just WoW in the Elder Scrolls universe. Like, there was nothing to set it apart. Yeah, I think that's it for Bethesda. I don't really have anything more to say about Fallout 4, because there's nothing yet.
Like I said, there's not much to talk about in the trailer other than
just a trailer that looks like it was recorded for a machinima channel in Fallout New Vegas. Microsoft's press conference is after Bethesda's. I haven't been following Microsoft much.
Yeah.
There's rumors that they're gonna show a new Gears of War game. Cool. Who cares?
Wasn't that officially announced? I thought that was confirmed.
Might have
there's
been.
A new one's being worked on.
Possible. If there is, they'll definitely be showing something for it then.
They'll be doing that. They'll be doing something Halo.
Yeah, Halo 5 demo is supposed to be there because that's like really far along in production. Typical Microsoft stuff. I don't think they're going to talk much about PC stuff because there's actually a PC exclusive conference at the end of E3. So I would imagine Microsoft is going to save their PC stuff for that.
They are pushing Windows 10 pretty hard, so
Windows 10.
They're trying to bring Xbox Live over to Windows.
Yep, if you've got Windows 7 or Windows 8, they're already bugging you to pre-order your copy of Windows 10.
Yeah, reserve your copy of this digital product.
Just in case they run out. They run out of Windows. But, I mean, aside from that, it's kind of like par for the course for Microsoft. I believe there is a new Xbox One coming out with a different sized hard drive, which probably
they're doing 1 terabyte hard drives,
which probably means price drop on the old Xbox One will be announced at E3. I would imagine.
I think they already have. When they announced the 1 terabyte console, I think they did drop the price.
I didn't do my homework.
You know what? Actually, I do know this. They're bundling the one of the SKUs. I don't remember if it's the 1 terabyte one or not. It might be the 1 terabyte console. They're bundling it with the Master Chief Collection. And there's another bunch they're doing with something else that I can't recall. But they're pushing that pretty hard. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Now, although for me, the Microsoft conferences are always just an exercise in like how amusing is the disappointment going to be.
Yeah, Microsoft.
A lot of E3 is like that.
I feel like Microsoft doesn't put much stock into their conferences. I feel like they kind of like. They don't really worry about bringing it's like the opposite of Sony. Sony's all about like getting huge news out at the like E3 conferences and stuff. Microsoft prefers to like put that news out through their own channels, and E3 is just kind of like stuff that's already been announced. So I don't really expect anything big that's new from Microsoft at E3. They're going to be talking about stuff they've previously announced. After Microsoft is EA. EA is going to be pretty much dominated by Star Wars Battlefront, I imagine.
Yeah, Battlefront and sports.
Ugh, Battlefront.
The yearly FIFA, yearly whatever the fuck.
Yep, good old sports. Battlefront, I don't know. We'll see. It just looks like shit, honestly.
I can't say I'm even cautiously optimistic.
I don't.
I liked Battlefront. No, sorry, not Battlefront. Fucking Bad Company 2. That was the last. This game that I loved.
I was gonna say, did you play Battlefront 2? I think we had this discussion before. Battlefront 2 was awesome.
We talked about it a bit on the last episode, I think.
Yeah,
no, I haven't played
Battlefront 2 is awesome. They took out everything good about Battlefront 2, basically, for the new ones. So no real excitement for me there. If it's good, that'll be a pleasant surprise. If it's bad, I'm not really surprised at all. So, however, there's rumors that there's going to be a full reveal of the next Mass Effect game at the EA conference.
I'm definitely cautiously optimistic about that, because there have been some interesting details that they've kind of shown bit by bit over the months. I think I'm only looking forward to it just because some of the new armor designs look pretty cool, the ones that were teased months and months ago, and they're bringing the Mako back. So at the very least, it won't be completely awful compared to Mass Effect 3 and Mass Effect 2.
I'm kind of excited for where they're going after Shepard.
That'll be interesting to see, because I think the new character is an N7 operative again.
That's the thing that I'm most excited about, is where they take the story at this point, because the Shepard stuff was kind of getting stale throughout Mass Effect 3, honestly. It was like, oh, look, Shepard is like back from the brink of death again and saves the world again with his or her colorful cast of misfits.
Yeah.
Like,
now have fun, and don't forget to buy the downloadable content.
They didn't introduce enough new stuff in the Mass Effect series, I feel like. So it always just felt like, oh, well, I'm playing Shepard again, even though Shepard literally died at the beginning of this game. And I'm going to save the world, I guess.
Yeah. Well...
Save the galaxy, sorry, not just the world. Actually, not the world at all, because the world got fucked up. But... did save the galaxy.
Yeah, pretty much. No matter what you do, that's
the world is fucked, but the galaxy's good. Good-ish.
Yeah. So we'll see how that's going to go. Definitely looking forward to that piece of the conference.
I don't know if there's going to be a full reveal. I would say maybe like a trailer, but I feel like EA's conference is going to be really heavily skewed towards Battlefront.
But yeah, there's been so much marketing about
it's gotten bad press, and they know it's gotten bad press. I know that they know. And EA over the last couple of years has been like pulling their image back from what they were before. Ubisoft basically took over as the worst video game company of all time or whatever. But so I can't imagine they're going to let that bad press sit. So I have to think that most of the EA conference is going to be Battlefront stuff. So I don't know about a full reveal for Mass Effect 4 or whatever they're going to call it, but maybe like some information, teaser trailer, something like that. Maybe a new Need for Speed game too. I was reading. Who cares? It's sports basically. It's like they're sports games. They just keep releasing them, and they're all race your car. You win.
Well, the reason that works though, I think the reason that works is because the sports games with like the yearly iterations. It's pretty much the same thing that's happening with the actual like real life sports leagues. Like you go back and you watch the tournaments every year, it's different rosters, players get traded. It's the same game though, over and over, but you still have a good time doing it. I think that's why those games are so successful, because they actually try to cater to people that like watching real sports.
Oh yeah,
they want to get into the game and like manage their own teams and shit. Definitely, it's not something I'm into. But then again, I'm also not a massive sports buff either. I know I'm supposed to.
Me neither.
But doesn't happen.
I like football sometimes, but whatever. After EA's...
anything else coming up in E3 that you're particularly looking forward to? Anything of note? I can't think of anything else beyond what we've talked about. For me,
there's going to be some Final Fantasy 15 stuff, which I'm kind of excited about because I'm a Final Fantasy guy. I'm certain there's going to be some more stuff because they released that demo with Final Fantasy Type 0. And that's been it so far. Nintendo is going to be there. Big time rumors that there might be a new Star Fox game announced.
I've been hearing that too. Yeah.
Which would be awesome if it uses the gyro controls in the gamepad. That would be fucking amazing. They might show some more Wii U Zelda stuff, but a lot of the stuff going around is that it might be delayed into next year. It was supposed to come out this year, but they haven't. There's been like no news of it. There's no evidence that they're going to have like new gameplay footage or anything at this year's E3. If they don't have new gameplay footage at this year's E3, it's probably not coming out.
I remember hearing about that too. I think it might have actually been confirmed that it was pushed back.
Oh.
Man, how long has it been? Like, gosh, the Wii U's been out for years now, and that's their core franchise. Like, they put out the Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Wind Waker HD, Majora's Mask HD on 3DS. They haven't released like an official.
Those are just reskins.
That doesn't
count at all.
Because they had footage of the new game at last year's E3. So if they don't have any at this E3, it's like, what happened? Something happened.
There's got to be some mention of it at least. I think.
Yeah.
I got to say something.
No Man's Sky, a game that we're both excited about, it's supposed to be released this year. People are worried it's going to be delayed. I would say the fact that it's going to be at E3, but it's not in Sony's press conference, is a big indicator that it's probably going to be pushed back into 2016.
It's kind of a red flag, but
if it was coming out this year, Sony would be pushing it already. They would be pushing it big time because it's, you know, they
It's a timed
bought
exclusive.
it out
Yeah.
as a timed exclusive. They put money into it already. They're clearly going to push this game when it's ready.
Yeah. Well, what worries me about No Man's Sky isn't necessarily being pushed back. Like, as seen with The Witcher 3, for example, being pushed back isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, generally it means the game's going to be better when it does get released, right? But for me, I'm worried about No Man's Sky because I really think there's a good chance it's going to end up... Uh-oh, hang on. We are back. All right.
Okay.
Anyway,
No Man's Sky.
yeah. So, okay, shit, what was I talking about?
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky, right. So what worries me about No Man's Sky is that it might end up being one of those games, because it's procedurally generated, that is like a really cool tech demo, but that's all it is. Where if you sit down and play it for a while, that you just don't have any fun after you see the same different colored planet, different colored dinosaurs over and over and over. Like the No Man's Sky beta test. It's pretty funny. But Minecraft was kind of like that. I think the only reason that Minecraft is as popular as it is was not because of the game that it is, because there's a million of them out there, but because it is a really, really popular mod platform.
Yeah.
And there's like a crazy crap ton of mods out for it now. You can always find something new to play in Minecraft.
And its mod platform was robust before any other Minecraft clones even came out. Like, it already had the mod platform built up. It already had a ton of super popular mods before any of the clones managed to get out. So
yeah, it was in a good position. So like, I'm eager to try out No Man's Sky. I want it to be good, but I just know with this kind of game, it has a good chance of not being so good.
Well, they talked about gameplay elements and stuff. Like, you can do like illegal mining and try and evade like the police ships and stuff. We'll see how they flesh it out.
At the very least, it would be cool just to fly from planet to planet and do the seamless transitions, like what Infinity was when it comes out eventually. That's what it'll do. But I guess I'm looking forward to it. I could say it like that.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot that I'm really pumped about with this year's E3. I feel like E3 has been kind of like Christmas for me. Like, as I get older, it just kind of gets less and less exciting.
We'll see. I think companies are getting away from announcing big things at E3, honestly. It feels like...
there's tons of other conferences where they do, like Gamescom. And, like Star Citizen's huge at Gamescom. They always do something
It feels like GDC is... I think GDC's at a better time for companies to make big announcements, because E3... This isn't really like a great time for super big announcements, because you can't announce something that's going to be coming out... Like, if you announce something at E3, it's probably not going to be coming out in the holiday season this year. Like, that's, you know... Like,
sometimes. But if you can make that announcement...
4 or 5 months of dev time, and that's just not enough. And, you know, if they announce something for, like, next year's holiday time, that's a long way out, too.
Yeah, it really is. Well, that's pretty much all I have to say about E3 so far.
I mean... Ubisoft has a conference, who cares? Rainbow Six game, Assassin's Creed game, cool. Our yearly Assassin's Creed.
Well, there is, hang on, is it Ubisoft that handles Mirror's Edge, or is that DICE? That's DICE.
DICE, I think.
Because Mirror's Edge 2 is around the corner.
Yep, that should have been in the EA thing.
Yeah.
Ubisoft, who cares?
I guess I'll have my eye on that as well.
I'm most excited about how big of a train wreck the Ubisoft conference host can make it. Sony,
yeah. Oh, she's back, by the way.
Yeah.
She is back.
Yep.
So
Aisha
that's going to
Tyler.
be not embarrassing at all.
Sony has a conference. I don't really know anything big coming up for Sony.
Yeah.
It's going to be indie stuff. I bet The Witness is going to be there. That's fuck who some indie dev. I can't remember his name.
I've heard names.
Completely blanked. Yeah. Whatever, not important. Nintendo's just doing a direct event, which isn't going to be anything big, really. Square Enix has their conference. It's just going to be like Final Fantasy stuff, and maybe like some Final Fantasy 14 information, like expansion or something.
It's going to be mostly 15, I'm sure.
And then there's a PC gaming conference, which I don't really know what's going to be at that. I haven't heard anything about that.
That is the most vague possible conference you can do. It's like
PC
it's a video game conference.
Yeah, basically.
Awesome. Could go either way.
I think that's about it for E3. That's all my big stuff that I'm really waiting for.
Yeah,
at E3.
we'll definitely have a lot to talk about next episode.
Yeah, we're
gonna be doing
gonna
that for all
E3
press
wrap up
conferences.
next episode.
There'll be lots of stuff going on there. But yeah, that's pretty much it for now, I suppose.
Well, I guess it's time to move on to the other big topic that we have, which is the only game we've really been playing for the last week and a half, Splatoon.
Yeah. Oh, God. Can't get enough of it. Okay. I got some things I need to say about this game. First of all, let me preface what I'm going to say here by saying this. I love Splatoon. It is so much fun. I can't stop playing it. I play for hours every night when I know I need to go to school the next morning, when I have work. It doesn't matter. It's addictive as shit. But I got some beef with Splatoon. I got some beef, and I'll tell you why. You can. I want to know if you agree with me on this shit or not. So here's the problem: when you get to the game and you're in a match and you're playing, you're inking up turf, you're killing other players, it is just a blast. I love it. But everything up until you get into the match sucks. And I know that Nintendo doesn't exactly have a reputation for having good online services. I'm well aware of that, but believe me, this is like as if a totally new studio is trying their hand at a matchmaking system. It is so terrible. For anyone who hasn't played Splatoon, I feel like I need to just get this out of my system, because I knew I wanted to talk about this on the podcast. I've been holding it in. Now is the time. This is happening, okay? Yes, I've been holding back, but no more. All right. Here is the problem. You want to play with a friend?
Too bad.
Tough shit. Okay. This is how it works. There is no party system in Splatoon. No party system. You can join a friend who is already in a match or queuing for a match, but you have to compete with the matchmaking system. You got to get in there before it actually matches other players into the game with your friend. You can't kind of get your foot in the door with him at the same time, like many multiplayer games actually do. It's pretty standard these days, right? And not only that, if you're queued for the match that your friend is in and nobody in his game leaves, you gotta wait another match, another 3 minutes, another 3 minutes. And you know what? You could say, you know what, Matt? You're such a goddamn whiner. It's only 3 minutes. What are you worried about? Go fuck yourself. That's what I say. I don't want to wait. I want to play Splatoon, goddammit.
Yeah, I'm ready to play. I'm ready to ink.
And once you're in a lobby, if you want to change your equipment or even just your weapon, you have to leave the lobby.
Yeah.
You have to exit out of it and start over.
Yep.
God.
You absolutely cannot. Oh, also, there's not only is it not guaranteed that you get on the same team as your friend, it almost seems like it is weighted towards putting you on the opposite team as your friend. I would say more often than not, if there's just two of us playing, we're not on the same team most of the time. I would say like 70% of the time we're on opposite teams.
Yep. Now, as a disclaimer, chances are that we're completely full of shit when we say this, but it really does feel like that way sometimes. I swear to God. Man. But that game is so goddamn... Oh, but I have more gripes. There's more beef here. This is not the end. So, there are a good number of maps in Splatoon now. I want to say like at least 5 or 6. Does that sound about right to you?
I want to say there's...
Maybe 7? I don't know. Maybe 8. They just added another one yesterday, the Kelp Dome. Pretty fun, actually. But, not only do you not get to choose what map you want to play, at any given time, for a given game mode, you can only play from a rotation of 2 of those maps. You get on and you want to play Salt Spray Rig? Too bad. It's not in the rotation, and you got to wait 4 hours if you want to play that map. So, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall that spoke Japanese when they were designing this game, because I swear to God,
Japanese
who would design this? I don't get it. I don't understand. And it's all the more frustrating because once you get into the game, it is so fun, and you just want to keep playing and never stop. I just want to play Splatoon for the rest of my life.
I'll tell you right now, Splatoon is the funnest, most frustrating experience I've ever had in my life.
Yep.
Just the game itself. You can be...
And you've played the Souls games, haven't you? Yes.
Well, so those are more frustrating but less fun, I would say.
Fair point.
But the frustration in Splatoon comes from the fact that you can be using the exact same weapon, playing the exact same way, and one match you're doing great, and one match you're just getting rammed into the wall nonstop.
Yeah, it can be interesting.
When you're leveling up, it's really bad because there's no matchmaking system to speak of. You're going to be playing against Japanese players, lots of Japanese players, because the game is huge in Japan, apparently.
Oh, yeah, and speaking of that, the reason that happens, folks, is because there are no, like, national servers. I think for the Splatfest there actually are. I think North American players get paired with each other. But for all other matches, this shit's international.
What's Splatfest? I don't even know what that is.
It's like a team thing.
Oh.
It'll happen.
Okay.
But, but for most of the gameplay, yeah, whether you're doing ranked matches or regular battles, it doesn't matter. Whether you're playing with friends or not, you can easily get paired with people on the other side of the planet, which
that are level 20.
Almost defeats the... Like, you almost can't even call it matchmaking, because it's not matching you on any kind of criteria that makes sense. I think it kind of tries to...
It's making a match. To
a similar level. It's making a match,
at its barest definition of the term.
It's just picking a player at random.
It's making a match.
Have fun.
The worst... When you're leveling, though, so you'll be like level 5, and you'll be playing against level 20s, and you unlock the guns as you level up. So, arguably... The guns are... Some are better than others, not depending on level. So, like, arguably, the Splattershot Junior that you start with is better than a lot of the guns you get as you level up. I would
and it
say,
varies from map to map, too. Like, I would say I find it better suited for certain maps.
Inarguably, there's 2 weapons that are a lot stronger than the other weapons. And that would be the arrow spray, definitely. Yeah. And I want to say the 96 Gal is probably a lot stronger than the other guns.
96 Gal. Love it. It's so good.
And almost all of my frustration when I first started playing Splatoon was when I was matched against people who were using the arrow spray. It shoots really fast. It covers a lot of ground. It also kills you really fast because of how fast it shoots.
It's a fun gun. It's very, very fun to use. I think there's better guns that are like more efficient at killing other players, but that's definitely one where there's a really low skill cap on it for covering turf. So you get a lot of people using it that just kind of don't really care and they just want to grind up points really quickly. Although if you're good, you can definitely pull off more points with other guns, I think.
Yeah.
But I've noticed anyway with me.
My Matt, your gun is the 96 Gal. Totally.
Maybe. I love it.
What else do you use?
Well, when I don't care about getting too many points, I like to use the crack-on roller. That's always a good time. I think all the rollers are really good for just sneaking around and doing those quick little ambushes. I tried the dynamo roller. I can't... It's so slow. It's really powerful and strong, but it's just too slow. I can't get a handle on it. And I've been trying to practice with the Splat Charger too, but I just started, so I'm not that good yet. But I'm trying to do the gyroing with it. It's coming along.
I can't use the Charger weapons because of my ping. If you like to play video games, don't move to Alaska because you're going to have terrible ping on every game, no matter what. No matter how good your internet is, the ping is still going to be bad. So the Charger weapons are basically out for me. I suck with the rollers. I haven't tried the ink brush. My guns are, if I want to kind of like be support and cover ground, I'll use the Splattershot Junior, which is the first weapon. And if I just want to kill people, then N-Zap. The N-Zap is my gun. I was crushing with that thing.
The N-Zap's
it's really fun. The best part about Splatoon is the mini game of walking around in your lobby and seeing all the drawings that people have posted on the Miiverse.
I can't believe how entertaining that is.
Seeing how many squid jokes you can see. Like the one, I found one and it was a drawing of Solid Snake with like squid tentacles coming out of his head. And it said, "This is Solid Squid reporting in. Octocon, can you hear me?"
Man, I have wasted so much time walking around and looking at those, and you have to wade through a lot of like SpongeBob SquarePants references. Some of them are, not
a lot of this post if you think they should add hairstyles.
Yeah.
By the way, everybody that plays Splatoon wants them to add hairstyles.
So but,
I don't think they will though. I don't think they're that deep into the customization. Well, maybe they will if there's enough demand, but
if you give them the benefit of the doubt and that they're doing kind of what Valve originally did, not anymore, but what they originally did for the character designs at TF2 is that they wanted each of them to have a unique identifiable silhouette. Now, in Splatoon, it doesn't matter if you're a boy Inkling or a girl Inkling. It's not a different class. It's just, cosmetic. But they do have very defined shapes. Like the boy specifically has the top knot thing going on.
Yeah.
And then the girl's got the the bangs, or side whatever's tentacles. Yeah.
Weird tentacle hair.
So, yeah, your tentacle hair.
Oh man. Was that
yeah,
really part of the TF2 design doc? Was every class be recognizable by their silhouette?
It used to be once upon a time.
That's
Keep in mind, this was like 8 years ago before they went
before
full
hats.
Yeah, before hats.
Before hats. Oh my god.
Yeah. But despite all that, though, I gotta say, I think this is an essential game for the Wii U. And I don't even own a Wii U, by the way. I use my roommate's machine.
Yeah.
But it is a ton of fun when you actually get down to playing. We've been playing. You and I have been playing a ton of matches, and with some of the other buddies from our group. It's been a really good time so far, and they've been actually kind of gradually adding more weapons and stuff and maps in a short time since the game has been released. I mean, it's clearly just stuff that is kind of being held back, but it's almost smart in a way because they're giving out this free DLC.
It's free,
little
at
bites,
least,
and it kind of keeps you interested. So, I've seen some scans of some Japanese gaming magazine. I don't know, it was like Famitsu or something, but there's some previews of some of the new weapons that are coming out, and there's a lot lined up. It looked like there were at least 8 or 9 more that are going to be delivered. And there's more maps on them as well. So.
I will say they've also confirmed a 4v4 mode where you actually queue up as a party of 4 people and play against another party of 4 people, and there's no like team swapping between rounds or anything. I don't know if that's going to extend to an actual party system. Mm-hmm. I think they're adding custom games too. They might be. I don't know if that was confirmed. I know the 4v4 thing was confirmed where you can actually bring a party of 4 people in.
Well, like, I can't even say that. Like, everybody's played tons of shooters these days. It's really common, popular genre. We know there's definitely a lot they can potentially do with Splatoon because it's just a multiplayer shooter.
Splatoon is great because it's my kind of shooting game. I'm not like a Call of Duty player. If I play a shooting game, it's going to be TF2 basically. So
I think actually the gunplay in a way kind of feels like TF2.
Yeah,
it's less about getting off the snap headshots and more like. It involves more sustained fire, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Not just in how cartoon.
You're pretty much just holding down the trigger all the time, unless you're using a charge gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's the matches are only 3 minutes, so it's really easy to burn like 2 hours and play a ton of matches. I do wish you leveled faster. The leveling
seems
is a
like
major
a slug.
roadblock.
Yeah. Although I will say, if you can get pretty good at the ranked play at Splat Zone, it's the King of the Hill game type.
Yeah.
Once you start to rank up, you earn way more points in that on victories than you earn in regular battles. Like I'm rank.
But you win nothing on a loss, right?
You win nothing on a loss if you get knocked out. So it's more of a risk reward kind of thing. But I think at the very least the rank matches seem like they're easier just to think about because you can ignore most of the map. There's a couple where I want to control certain parts of the map that aren't the King of the Hill points, just because they give you a really good tactical advantage. But generally, you can ignore a lot of it. You just got to get to the point and do your thing once you're there.
I'll tell you, I saw someone playing a ranked match on Kelp Dome, and it looked terrible. But
that one's weird. I've played one ranked match there so far.
It was like in the middle. The point was in the middle, so you were like up on these like weird balconies that are in.
There's these walkways
down
that go around
it.
And and you can shoot through the walkways too. That's actually, I think it's kind of a good thing because you can get the drop on people that are above you trying to get the drop on you.
It's there's a lot of frustration. I found I get frustrated at it a lot when I'm doing poorly or when my team is doing poorly. I definitely get frustrated.
There's definitely moments of that, and this is one of those games where you always hear about people going like, "Oh, it wasn't my fault; it was my team's fault." But because these are teams of 4. If one person isn't pulling their weight or if they get disconnected or something, that actually makes a massive difference. That's 25% of your firepower right there.
Yep.
So it really does, it can easily boil down to one guy not pulling his ass. And but it also means that if one player gets hot and is doing amazing, it can make a massive difference. Like that one match that I played with you. That's pretty good. So, 16-2, baby. All right. But individual players do make a massive difference compared to, some older Battlefield games where you have 64 versus 64 player matches.
And that also, a lot of that plays off the fact that it's not a deathmatch game. you're killing people, and killing people gives you a significant advantage because you can ink a lot of ground while they're respawning. Like if you wipe their team, that's like you can easily cover 25% of the map before they respawn.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And they don't. You can. So if a teammate of yours is alive, when you respawn, you can super jump to them. So you can easily get to the middle of the battlefield right away. But if everybody dies at the same time, they all have to start from their spawn. So you've got even more time to push forward. But if you treat it like a death match, you're gonna lose. Basically, if your only concern is running like you, because the way that it is ranked is at the end of the match, it calculates the percentage of the level that is covered in your team's color versus the percentage of the color of the other team. So if you start a game and everyone on your team but you is just only dedicated to deathmatching and they're not bothering to ink anything up, you're probably going to lose even if you're just killing them nonstop. If
you're a new player, you'll notice that. I mean, a lot of folks that are still kind of low level, level 1, level 2, they haven't quite grasped that that's the point of the game.
Yeah.
You'll see that. Although there are weapons like, well, actually, it's basically the chargers, where you can, if you're good with them, you can focus specifically on keeping the other team down so that they can't ink your turf.
That's basically the charger's
it does contribute
job.
in its own way, but you still got to be inking it up. Yeah, you got.
And if everyone is doing it, it doesn't really contribute that much because you've got a bunch of people focused on killing and nobody's putting any ink down.
It's kind of a bummer when you get matched into a team where there's like 3 other chargers.
Basically,
expecting everyone else to do the work.
Yeah, basically, if you load into a game and all 3 of your teammates run off without inking up your spawn area, you know you're probably in for a bad time. Because there should be, I would say, we're talking like weird strategy here. I would say 2 people should stay back to ink the spawn up. It takes too long for one person, and obviously,
I try to do that.
Obviously,
the weapons I roll with. You can just throw it on a bomb, or I throw it on the sprinkler right on the spawn, and then I just go off and
the sprinkler's great for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you'll have people like, so you have these supers that you get. Each weapon has a different super, but they build up as you ink turf.
Yep.
So it's really important for all 4 of your team members to go different directions at the start of the game, so that you're not trying to compete with a teammate for area to ink. And all the time, I'll start running down like a hallway or something, and someone will come up behind me with a roller, and they just like run past me, and I'm like, "What, dude? You're not helping here at all. You're making it worse for both of us."
Yeah, there's some fun players in this game.
There's a lot of tactical stuff that it's really hard to coordinate on because there's no voice chat or anything in the game. You can say "come on" or "booyah." That's your communication in the game.
Well, the gameplay itself can actually get, like, I don't like saying the word tactical, but it really can. Like, there's some strategy involved. Just because not only of how you handle your ink distribution over the map, but the fact, and I mean, I think probably a lot of people know this about the game, but when you ink up turf in your own color, you can swim through that. And you're very hard to see. In some cases, you can actually be invisible if you have the appropriate power-up. And you go really, really fast. So you can play these really, really fun games of cat and mouse with other players, trying to find where they swam to, where you're swimming to. It's more than just a typical over-the-shoulder shooter. It really is.
Yeah.
So matches can get pretty interesting like that. In fact, that's how a ton of my fights play out, with both me and the other guy, both trying to simultaneously ambush each other at the same time. We both kind of have an idea where the other person is, but not really. It gets pretty fun. I think that's the appeal for me, actually.
There's some tactics.
That's suspenseful. Get that gameplay going.
One of my favorite moves with the splatter shot and the NZAP, actually, because they have the same grenade, is I like to throw a grenade past the guy, and then I run at him with my gun, and I'm shooting, so his instinct is to back up, and he's going to back up right into my grenade. I've gotten so many kills doing that. Because they don't even like think about the grenade. Like, you're too deep in the firefight at that point.
That actually reminds me of something that a buddy of mine was talking about. I got another friend named Brian who plays Splatoon, and he does this thing where he'll actually hide for an ambush, but he'll hide on a wall. Because you can paint up the walls too, although you don't get points for it. Or you get like very little points or something. But whenever you see someone who knows you're there, an enemy who is aware, okay, they're in this room somewhere hiding in ink, people never spray up the walls. They never do.
Yeah.
So you can actually hide in a wall, and as long as you just tilt the stick a little bit to keep yourself from sliding down, then you can get some pretty good ambushes going. And I have not mastered that at all, but I want to get better at that because it's damn effective.
I'm terrible at climbing walls in general.
Yeah, me too.
Not good at it. Every time I pick a wall to climb, it's one that has one of those little lips at the top that you
It's
can't
got the
climb
bar at
past.
the
I'm
top,
like,
so
oh
you can't
no.
do it. Yeah.
I
I love catching people on those. Like, that asshole's trying to climb up that wall.
think I haven't played a ranked match yet in Splatoon. But
You should give it a go. You can start ranked matches at level 10. And for those who don't know, it's a different game type. For ranked matches, at least at the moment anyway, for ranked matches, you play this King of the Hill kind of game type where you don't actually have to ink up the entire map. There's specific zones, usually one or two of them, where you have to kind of hold control of to earn points. And then if you control it the most, your team wins. But yeah, I definitely recommend it because it is, like I said, it's a different kind of gameplay, really.
yeah.
Because with most of the, with Turf War, the regular battles, the regular game type, nobody's focusing on any particular area. It's just a free-for-all. It's basically a free-for-all, even though it's a team game where everyone's just going all the fuck over the place. But with Splat Zone in the ranked matches, it's a lot more concentrated. So you get a lot, and people complain about the ink strikes and people spamming specials, when really that's happening all the time in regular matches too, except it's really spread out. So nobody bitches about, these ink strikes are so overpowered in Turf War. But they're all happening on the exact same spot in Splat Zone.
I imagine ink strikes suck in Splat Zone.
They can get irritating.
You should shift your mic around a little bit. There's some weird background noise going on.
Oh shit. I don't know what it is. We'll have to look into that.
It's not too bad. Might even be
I'll check it out.
I don't know.
After the show.
Not super important. We're almost at the end anyway.
Yeah, we got a few minutes left.
I think that's about it for Splatoon. I don't have anything else.
Yeah, I said everything I want to say. Although I just want to reiterate, I've said it before. It's really, really fun. So go get it. If you don't have a Splatoon for the Wii U, pick it up. If you don't have a Wii U, this is a reason to
pick it up. Yeah.
Maybe not on its own, but this is one of those games where you go, oh yeah, I could play.
There's a Zelda game coming eventually, maybe too.
Maybe at some point, possibly.
Yeah. So I've got a couple other topics, but I think I'm going to save them for the next podcast. What I want to do is I haven't finished it yet, and you have, but I would like to go back to The Witcher 3 real quick and talk about that a little bit. We can't talk about too much story stuff because I haven't finished it yet. But
also, we just don't want to be assholes to people watching.
Yes, you have finished the main story.
I have finished the main story. And I want to point out there are. This isn't really a spoiler. There are a small number of major endings where you'll know. Pardon me. You'll know when you get to the point. There's basically 3 different endings, major endings that can happen, and there's a lot of don't want to say minor events, but there's a lot of other things that happen in the story that they do touch on. You hear about them in the epilogue. You see them happen in cutscenes. So there's a lot. There are a few different ways the story can go. And I know I say 3 endings. It's more diverse than Mass Effect 3, so don't worry about that.
Before you go on, I did want to ask. Yeah. I don't think I actually asked you this. Can you continue playing after you finish the main story?
Yeah, you could in my ending.
Okay.
I don't know how it is in the other ones, if that's not an option or not.
So you can go back and wipe up the side quests and stuff that you didn't do.
You can do the side quests. It actually it puts you back into the map or into the game world in a position in time before.
Okay, so it's one of those. So,
however, the main quests though are no longer available to you, so you can't go and do them again.
Okay.
But yeah, it plunks you back into the world at that point. And then
so you're not playing in the world basically after that storyline. It just puts you back in and lets you finish up what you had.
Well, I have to tell you, when I finished that game, I finished my playthrough of The Witcher 3. I no longer felt like playing the game, and that is not because it wasn't any fault of the game. In fact, it's because the game that I played, the story, the characters, it was so good, or at least better than most video games I've ever played, if I'm being honest, really. And it made me feel things that I didn't think a video game could make me feel.
Made me feel, man.
And when I feel like if I go back and play that game, it's going to remind me that I won't be able to experience those feelings again for the first time. So I feel like if I go back and play it, it's going to be disappointing me because it won't be as good as the first time that I was playing. Like, I could go back and finish up the Witcher contracts and side quests that I haven't done, but man, that ending was so good that it actually killed my enthusiasm to go back and play in the open world afterwards. Eventually, I don't even want to do a second playthrough for a long time. I feel like I have no motivation to do it. And again, it's somehow it's because the story that I played was so good that I feel like if I do another one, it's going to be like I'm lying to myself about what happened first time.
It's like you're cheating on your first Witcher 3 playthrough.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it, actually. And I'm just not ready for that kind of commitment yet. So, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, definitely, if for you at home, but also for you, Tony, definitely finish the story.
Yeah.
Because I got to a point where I was like, all right, forget the side quests. I got to know what's going to happen next.
That's kind of what I'm doing because I want to finish it up, and then I'm going to go back for the side quests because I always do. But
yeah, I don't have enough of like the completionist gene in me.
I do
to overpower that urge not to play. But yeah, there's definitely a ton of content in that game. Like I'm nowhere near done. I think my playthrough only took me like 50 hours, 50 or 60. But again, I skipped tons and tons of side quests because I wanted to finish the story.
And I'm still significantly far from finishing because I just started the stuff on Skellige. So
yeah, you got a ways to go still.
And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to do the main quest. And then I did a bunch of side quests. And I was like, fuck, damn it. It's not what I wanted to do. So, game of the year for you so far?
You know what? Yeah, it really is. And I admit I haven't played like every single new release that's come out.
Oh, no,
this is the only one that majorly drew my attention in the first place. So I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes open. There are going to be other potential titles, but yeah, so far, just out of what I've played, I guess it's my game of the year.
Yeah, I would say so far it's probably the best game I played in a few years, honestly, for me. I was going to get GTA 5 on PC, but that whole Steam
then that whole thing happened with the pricing and the douchebaggery.
Yeah, if you don't know what happened, the Steam summer sale started yesterday, and Rockstar decided that instead of putting GTA 5 on sale, they were going to bundle it with other stuff and put the extra stuff on sale so that it would still be $60 and you would get like some free in-game cash, but the game itself wasn't on sale. So basically, they wanted you to pay full price for their game, but they also wanted to be on the front page of the Steam store during the Steam summer sale.
Yeah.
So pretty big scumbag move there.
And the actual game, I think, is not on sale. You can buy it. I found out later you can still buy it on its own, but it's the regular
You couldn't
price.
at first. They took the game itself off completely when it first started, and I think they realized that that's actually illegal, so they put it back up. Yeah.
Is it really?
It's technically price gouging to make it so that you have to buy it bundled with other stuff, because it was still like I want to say like one of the bundles was like 5 cents cheaper than $60, but the other ones were a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, a couple of. There was the one that came with I think it was Max Payne 3
and I think actually I think the first thing they did, and this got changed real fast, was they actually raised the price of just the game to $80, which that's definitely illegal.
I would expect that in Canada because that's how much our games cost anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of a dick move there.
So I still want to get it on PC. Just to mess around with it, but I'm not going to buy it for full price.
Yeah, I'll wait for the next sale. Although I think you might be able to get it from
Green Man Gaming.
Green Man Gaming, yeah, for 25% off.
20% off.
Right.
That might be over now. I'm not sure. It was.
They're always doing something like that, though.
Real quick, we got a little bit of time. Source 2 is coming to Dota 2. That was just confirmed a couple hours ago, actually. Well, they haven't specifically said Source 2. But
I noticed that. I was reading the little update page, and it just says new engine. And, what else could it be?
Yeah, it's so they're releasing like a beta version of Dota 2 that you can download. That's on a new engine. It's got like brand new, like revamped everything. If you don't play Dota, you don't give a shit. Aside from the implications that Source 2 is coming out, and that could potentially be ported to other Valve games.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah.
With that announcement, I'm a little teeny tiny bit optimistic that we might eventually see another Half-Life or even another Portal or something.
Don't say it. Don't mention it on our podcast. What have you done?
You know what? It's already fucked. So forget it. I'm going to say it. We already know that they're probably not going to do something like that if they can't monetize it like they've done with Dota.
You know what? Fuck it. We're at the end of the podcast anyway. I don't think they should do it because it's too late. It's not relevant anymore. The game. I don't know if you've gone back and played any of the Half-Life games recently. They don't play very well. They did not age well, and I guarantee you it's probably going to be the same gameplay in the new Half-Life if it came out.
No, but you'll get to do the seesaw puzzle again with better graphics.
With
like a whole new game.
Marginally better graphics.
Maybe this time it'll be with like water physics instead of blocks.
It'll be a disappointment. No matter what they do, they could put it in Unreal 4, fucking pay somebody $100 million to come in and do it for them. It would still be a disappointment.
Yep. There's no way it can live up to the hype at this point.
The time for Half-Life 3 is over. They should just make a really cool like half-hour movie wrapping up the storyline. Because that's the only way that storyline's going to get finished out.
They can make some good movies.
They're not going to release that game. Mark my words. You can come back to this podcast if Half-Life 3 ever comes out. They're not going to release it. It's not going to happen.
I bet you it already exists. It's sitting on a hard drive at Valve.
Gabe plays it every day, but it'll never be released. I don't think so. I really strongly believe it's never coming out. He
uses it as a coaster for his fucking...
There's a reason Gabe doesn't ever mention it, and that's because he wants it to go away. Because it's never going to come out.
That is a dreary-ass note to end our podcast. Holy shit.
Great time to end the podcast.
We're so sorry.
We're right at about an hour now, so it's a good point to wrap it up. Next time will be our post-E3 wrap-up show. E3's happening throughout next week, so we'll have more information on that next Friday. I don't know when I'm going to upload this. We're recording it right now, Friday the 12th. I still have to edit it a little bit.
I think it'll be available to watch on Twitch for like I think they do 2 weeks or something.
Yes,
it's a couple weeks, something like that.
And I have the raw footage, so worst comes to worst, I'll just upload it unedited if I can't get it edited.
We'll get something up there on YouTube for sure.
I would look for it by Sunday, maybe Monday.
And of course, before we finish up, let's plug. So, you guys, if you want more of this, whoever happens to be watching at this point in time, you can follow us on Twitter at GNGN Podcast, up along the top of the screen. There it is, top of the screen there. And eventually, we're going to have a website. It's going to go at www.gngn.org. You can visit it right now.
Technically, we already have a website.
Looks spectacular. It's true, we do have a website, and it's very entertaining. So go check it out. And eventually, that's where we're going to be posting
very
any kind
detailed,
of updates or archives.
In depth, everything.
We're very proud of it.
Everything's fleshed out already.
True, spectacular North American craftsmanship up there.
Yes,
beautiful. Just look to the Northern Lights.
Yeah, we're still working on all that. I was on vacation and I've been really sick. Matt's got work in school. My school starts up soon. We're busy guys, but it'll get done eventually.
Rest assured, it is on the way. It's going to happen.
So next week will be post E3 wrap up. I have a couple more topics that I'm actually just going to say right now. We're going to talk about rhythm games next time.
Yes,
we've been intending to do that for 2 podcasts now, but it's kind of like a back burner. It's kind of a back burner subject right now. So
it's not really as exciting, I guess. There's not much happening. Although actually there is some upcoming stuff. And sorry, I don't want to say too much. We'll talk about it next time. But there's some things to talk about for sure.
And next week we will be premiering the first part of actually what we planned this podcast for originally. This was my original idea when we started this podcast, and I don't want to talk about it yet. It's going to be revealed on the next one, though. We're going to start it. It's a thing that'll take a week, so like we'll talk about what it is next week, and then the payoff for it will actually be the week after that. So look forward to that. That's going to be it's going to be a main staple of this podcast, and it's basically the idea that I had that was the catalyst to start this podcast. So
it's how this all began. So it's kind of weird to look back and that this is how we wanted to start it, but we actually haven't done it yet for 2 episodes. Well, but there's been so much else that's been going on.
Yeah.
So we gotta talk about this stuff. But we're going to be starting that, and we'll talk about it next week. We'll let you guys know what it is and what we're going to be doing with that. And we do intend to do this, make this a regular thing. This is going to be kind of a regular segment of each show. Yeah. Ideally. We'll see how it goes, but hopefully it goes well. And it should be some good entertainment.
Yep. I think that's all we got.
Well, yeah. I guess that's about it.
We're ready to wrap.
So, do you want to wrap it up?
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Follow our Twitter. If the Twitter starts getting follows, I will use it. It's not particularly used right now, but that's because it has no followers. So
yes, and eventually during live streams, by the way, you can tweet us at that with a particular hashtag, which we'll figure out. And
Yeah.
you can ask us questions. We'll answer stuff live if you care about our
Yep,
opinions.
and I will be watching the chat when we stream as well. So
yes, Twitch chat too.
I'll be keeping my eye on the Twitch chat. That's I think it. Keep an eye on the website. It'll be updated eventually. We're still fleshing stuff out. Matt's the artist here, so it's all
As you
on
can
him.
see, I'm incredibly talented. So
yeah. I think that's about it. We're gonna wrap up here, and we'll see you next week for post E3 stuff. So
sounds pretty good. Yeah.
Thanks.
So
for
we'll
watching.
talk to you guys next week. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a good one.